What's up guys, and I managed to get another video out before my move, thankfully. So now I can complete the Doom Eternal wave that just came out, which consists of this Marauder and the Phobos Doomslayer I reviewed earlier. Now this Marauder is one cool cat and tough as nails too in the game. Don't believe me? Turn on infinite ammo and use the BFG and see how that turns out. But of course, if you wait for the green eyes, he's not too bad. Just don't miss. Anywho, this Marauder figure is the one I've really been waiting for, so let's get this review started. Starting with the box front, it's nice and long and has a Marauder picture on it. Here's one side with more Marauder there, and then the other half of his face there, along with the other side with just the Marauder name. Then you get the top with a nice open window, and the bottom with the UPC. And here's the back with a big old Doom logo, as well as a sweet glam shot of the Marauder with a nice red highlight. Totally digging it. Now this guy is a really sweet figure. He's got premium written all over him. He's definitely not a usurper. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the head. Actually, you know what? Changed my mind. We're going to start with the shoulder pads because they're kind of in the way. As you can see, they don't give a very clear shot of the head or the arms, and the cool part is they actually can be removed, which I will do as soon as I show you the close-ups here. Alright, now first and foremost, it's actually made of a soft rubber, but not too soft. As you can see, these little kind of sharp bladey things that stick out quite a bit actually hold their shape pretty well, and they actually bounce back even though you kind of push them down, which is just great. And the paint job is incredible on here, and the sculpting detail, just look at how crisp that just probably the Night Sentinel writing. I'm not really sure what writing that is, but still, you know, it's pretty awesome, very crisp, super details right there, and the paint and the weathering looks incredible on here. Both sides just so well done and well sculpted. And if you notice here, you see that little shiny metallic sheen. That metallic sheen is actually present on the entire figure, even the little body right here. I'll show you more of that later. But yeah, they really did a great job on the paint on this figure. Alright, now like I said, they're removable because they actually are articulate. You can see they can kind of turn like so. You see the little pivot point right there. Goes like that, can go up too to give his arm some movement there. Same thing with this, goes up quite high so that his arm can go up quite high as well. And then to remove them, you actually just pop them off ever so gently so you don't tear it, just like that, and there you go. There's the inside of that one. And then same thing for this one, you just pop that off just like so. That came out easier. That's the inside of that one, and there you go. As you can see, it's just a little peg right there. You could probably pull this peg off too, but I don't feel like it because it's so hard to get to. But yeah, not that big a deal. And then here is the hole. It's focused. All right, there we go. There's the hole right there. And if you want to put it back on, you just plug it back in, and it fairly easily goes back in. You need a little pressure, make sure it's lined up and doesn't go, you know, askew. And bing, there you go. It's back on. It's kind of interesting look too without the shoulder pads. Kind of something different if you want to have a different looking Marauder. Now one thing cool about these removable shoulder pads is if you happen to have more than one of these guys, like I happen to, I told you I like this figure, I might actually army build him. And if any of you guys are too, then you can swap the configuration around to make them look unique and not like some cookie cutter army build, much like the new Black Series Hoth Rebel Soldier. Now of course the new loadout won't be game accurate, but who says it can't exist? But anyways, now that we have a clear shot of the head, let's take a look at the head. Now when it comes to the head and just the whole figure in general, really, just details. Just look at the sculpting, even the horns here. Just look at how much detail they added into the horns. They look fantastic, and then the little connection point in there is just, it goes in perfectly that they don't look like they're just, you know, slapped on. It looks like it's actually coming out of his head, and they're actually kind of soft too, so you don't have to worry about poking your eyeballs out, your little bitty eyeballs. But they hold their shape and they bounce back when you move them, so that is a plus. But I really love the face there. Just look at the eyes and the nose, especially the nose. Look at how indented it is. It's like, that's a very thin kind of plastic there, so that's some really great molding and sculpting, that it doesn't just collapse on itself when they're making this figure. And the paint, how they just got it all in there, pretty impressive. And they got some nice shiny metal on his, or shiny paint on his metal mouthpiece there. Unfortunately, it does not come off. It is glued on, and you can see how it's kind of glued on right there, so that is a bummer. You can't go kind of glory kill mode with him because of that, but hey, you know what, it's still good. And moving into the body, I'm really digging how they sculpted both the skin and the armor here. Just take a closer look at the armor first. Look at all the cracks and wear that they have into it, and then they have the weathered paint. That red dot's pretty cool too. They got some like I think gray wash, not black. It's definitely, yeah, it's definitely lighter than black, but it's a gray wash to highlight the cracks, and then they added that kind of metallic paint to give it that metal look there. And then the leather straps here actually look like they're leather, and then they have just wear marks in there as well. And check that out too. It's got that little paint there that kind of reminds you of Star Wars, you know, those little pads, whatever, like, you know, leather seats that have been worn out. They even painted it to look like that. It's like, wow. And then going into the skin, I love how they just kind of captured the pale and ghostly color of the actual Night Sentinel, and just look at all the texturing they put into it as well. And on the front, if you can tell, actually, yeah, the camera can capture it, you can see they actually added a little highlight paint to give it some definition and depth. And I love this little kind of the veins that coming out, because according to the game, apparently he's a Night Sentinel, or the, you know, the other faction, this Night Sentinels that joined the Makers, that, you know, turned on the Doomslayer and his faction, and he was a fallen Sentinel and he was resurrected, but he became corrupt during his resurrection, and that's what all these Marauders are, just corrupt Night Sentinels that have fallen. So I love how they just, oh, they capture that really well. Oh, and like I said, that metallic paint is everywhere, including a little sheen on his belly. Let me see if I can capture that on camera there. If you can see that, it's very just, it's not even glittery, it's just so fine and just wow, just wow, very premium. But anyways, a nice skin texture goes into his right arm as well. Definitely well sculpted overall. It looks so ghastly. I love it. It's just bleh. But anyways, and then he's got his little gauntlet here on this side that has more detailed paint, and just everything's glued on very solid too. Definitely doesn't feel flimsy or anything, and it's just so well done. Look at his hands there. He's got little claws there. It's pretty bendy there, so you can get the thing in. Then you got his other arm here that has the armor plating or whatnot. Either way, it looks really awesome. There's that side, and then here's the top portion of the armor. So awesome. The Night Sentinel armor, I guess the other Sentinel before he got his really awesome, whatever his suit's called again in this one, the upgrade. Praetor suit, that's what it's called, the Praetor suit. Well, the Doomslayer gets a Praetor suit, he doesn't, so I don't know. Oh, and staying on the topic of the Doomslayer, you can actually fit the Doomslayer's super shotgun into his hand here, and it actually is a pretty perfect fit. Just kind of finagle that in there, and even his finger, as you can see, zoom in there, goes right into the slot, and you have a perfect fit with the Doomslayer's shotgun. Pow pow! Pew! And moving on down, the details never end, nor does the paint quality. Just look at how clean that paint is on that symbol right there. I think that's a Night Sentinel symbol. But anyways, look at how they just, it actually looks like metal, even though it's actually soft rubber, as you can see. And these skulls here, I really dig the skulls. I love how they highlighted it with yellow. It just looks awesome. They're glued on pretty good too, so they're not going to fall off. Oh, these are actually pretty pointy. They're, yeah, those will definitely hurt if you sit on that. And then you got the back here, that's also soft there, and then that's what his boot looks like. And funny thing is, take a look at that. You see that shiny paint? I told you, it's everywhere. But anyways, going around the side there, you got his little pocket there, and then it's just really well made. And up here too, these are actually soft / hard, so they'll bend, but they have enough tension to them that, you know, they actually can hurt. So yeah, I like how dangerous this figure is. Although something I really want to warn you about is check out this little connection point right there. That is a very just not strong point. If you pull this too hard, that is going to tear. Just look at how, ugh, that's a terrible joint. So if you actually kind of did the splits and you overdid the splits, there is potential of tearing, so definitely be aware of how far you articulate the legs because of that. But anyway, speaking of the legs, it got some nice detail as well. Most of it's covered up by his little flap-a-daps there, as you can see, but going up, it still has all the details. What's funny though is you get the shiny paint here, but then they know that you don't see the rest of it, and then there's no more paint, so that's kind of funny. But anyways, the boots is where the details is at. Just look at the paint, the sculpt quality, the highlights, the weathering. This is just one of those figures where you just keep staring at it, and the more you stare at it, the more details you pick out. It's just, I'm like literally, I just stare at this figure and just, I keep finding more details. It's just incredible. Even the bottom of his feet, look at that. No legal jumbo or anything. It's just nice and clear, and he's got the treads there. It's just, this is such a well-made figure, like, dang, and for 20 bucks? What? But anyways, as for articulation, his head has potential to rotate in a circle, but because of that little kind of chin there, it gets stuck on both edges, so it doesn't really go all the way around, but you get some decent range there, as you can see, and it goes that far up and that far down. Wow, that was sharp. Okay, anyways, it goes that far up and that far down, and then you get some side-to-side movement right there. Although what is cool is you can actually pop his head off like so, just like that. Check that out. It's just a regular ball joint, although when you're pulling it off, be careful where your grip is, because if you push it too far up here or whatnot, you might actually tear the little horns off. So just kind of push it right back here where it feels like it's a very strong point, and just kind of twist it off like so instead of pulling up. And both shoulders have good range with the shoulder pads off, and they also both go in a circle. It's gotta avoid the arm there a little bit, and then they come with a single jointed elbow, but thankfully the elbow does spin in a circle as well, and the hand also spins there, and then there's a ball joint there that has a little cutout, so make sure you line up the cutout, and then it goes forward and back. And with the shoulder pads back on, the shoulders still go quite a bit high because of the articulation there, but obviously you can't go in a full circle anymore because it gets stopped by the shoulder armor. And its top torso spins in a circle, and so does the bottom torso, but it's actually really hard to get it to spin because it's a tight joint, and honestly these little things right here, like I told you, they actually keep kind of cutting into your fingers if you're not careful, so that's kind of annoying. But anyways, it goes that far sideways, not bad, and then it goes that far back, pretty decent, and then that far forward, unlike the Doom Slayer. And also like the Doom Slayer, his little waist pad here can actually slide up a little bit, which allows the leg to go quite a bit forward, but not very far back, unfortunately, because even though the little booty piece is soft, the sculpt just does not want to go, unfortunately. And then the splits, of course, it could probably go further, but like I said, you don't want to tear into that, and that's what the internal leg joint looks like there, in case you want to see that. A little bit of thigh pivot, but no actual thigh swivel. And the knee goes up decent amount, not quite 90, but it's still good. And one thing I kind of want to point out that's cool too is the knee joint actually has sculpting and paint on it, which is pretty awesome. And then the boot itself actually spins in a full circle, unlike the Doom Slayer, and then the foot goes forward, back, and then sideways. And what's really interesting about this this Marauder, is the design of the foot is actually a full-on ball joint, as you can see there, and you just kind of pop that in. They're actually labeled left and right, so you don't have to worry about losing or mixing them up. But yeah, so definitely a lot of rotation there because of that, so that's pretty cool. And for his first accessory, he comes with the typical McFarlane stand here, matte colored. But of course, his coolest accessory is this Crucible axe here, or at least I think it's called the Crucible axe. I mean, the blade's called a Crucible blade, and this is an axe, so it's the same thing. But anyways, just look at the detail they put into the axe there. Just, oh, that skull looks incredible. And then you got the kind of glowing whatever lightsaber style, energy sword thing that's there, and then you got the little symbols written into it as well. Then you got these little details here, like kind of the straps, and then you got some weathering paint as well. They really went all out on this Crucible axe. It's just, I really like this accessory. Now, if only they could have given the Doom Slayer, the Phobos one, a Crucible blade to go with this, oh, that would have been awesome. And despite the paint making it look like it's nice hard metal, it's actually pretty soft and bendy, but it holds its shape. That's actually pretty pointy. And the little handle here is surprisingly bendy, a little more bendy than I would have liked, but overall it's not bad. And then these are kind of bendy as well, but they hold their shape. And this is actually a separate piece. All three, it's those three pieces. They glued this to that. So that's just very wow. And that's what he looks like holding his axe. And this is why I said I don't like how soft the handle is, because it's kind of drooping. It's just, yeah, I wish they would have made it stiffer so that it would hold its shape. So I guess you just kind of hold it down and have him drag it just like he did in the game there, so that it doesn't droop, but oh well. And of course you can have the Doom Slayer hold it as well, although it's kind of loose in his hand there. It's not the best grip, so it just kind of slides up and down, as you can see. You can kind of hold it up here, then he holds it, and then it doesn't droop too, so that's kind of nice. Same thing with the other hand though. It's just, it doesn't really hold. It's a little bit better, but it's still kind of slidey, so if you hold it just right, or put little putty in there to hold it in place, you can definitely make them hold that, or not. Now, one thing I really wish they would have given us was his shield, because I mean that completes the figure. I mean, honestly, without his shield, it just kind of changes the whole dynamics of the game.
Warning: demonic presence threat level 5 entering main laboratory.
And for some comparisons, here he is next to his Doom Slayer buddies, as well as some other McFarlane figures. I think I might need a bigger Master Chief. And here's a few more McFarlane figures. Here he is next to some Star Wars Black Series, as well as some Marvel Legends. And here he is next to a bigger Master Chief. Alright, he might be a little bit too big, actually. Okay, I think I need a Master Chief between that size and this size. Well guys, overall this figure definitely lived up to my expectations, and I'm glad I grabbed more than one of them. Of all the figures out there worth army building, this guy is definitely one of them. Now, if only McFarlane would give us his shield, that would make this figure pure perfection. And it's like I said in my Phobos Slayer review, McFarlane made a weapons pack for the Halo figures before, so I don't see why they can't do the same for these Doom guys. Anywho dudes, this will be the last video before I gets to moving, so hopefully I can get my stuff set up quickly at the new place. Otherwise, feel free to rewatch my videos over and over and over and over and over again until a new one pops up. Alright guys, stay safe out there, stay healthy, and watch out for evil space monkeys, and until next time, peace.